Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The clock has just struck 9:22 on Sunday, November 6th. Happy Daylight Savings, and welcome to, at long last, the fourth episode of Unsportsmanlike Content. My name is Harry Loomis. I'm here with Thomas Fornes and Kenan Bielovats. Boys, been a while. How we doing?
We're doing just fine. I know Kenan's a little under the weather, but for the rest of us, we're ready to go.
A little bit under the weather. Went to D.C. with you about a week and a half ago. It was time
Yes,
for our
we
lives.
should probably talk about DC. These boys got to go do a presentation for Griffin Media along with a couple other members of the department. How was that experience, boys?
Oh, it was just wonderful. I mean, we did feel a bit in over our heads, but I think we pulled it out and threw a little Hail Mary there at the last second.
It could definitely connect it. We got a chance to meet with some award-winning journalists. We got to sit in a couple of great keynote speakers. And of course, the nightlife was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, the extracurriculars have Kenan still recovering, if that says anything.
Yeah, I woke up to a couple of text messages and phone calls from Kenan. We had to clear the air a little bit, so I was just glad that he was okay first and foremost. But
I was okay. I was just looking for Tommy because Tommy got lost.
I did hear Tommy get lost.
You know, there's a huge distinction between getting lost and being left.
We should probably discuss that. What happened? Let's get all the facts of the case out there and let them decide.
You know, it was pretty hazy, but from my understanding, Kenan should have ordered an Uber XL. He ordered a regular Uber. He took his company home with him and left me in the dust.
And let it be known on the record, the company does not include any of the other three members of the department that went on this trip with Kenan. He made his own friends and took them to the hotel, as opposed to his good friend, his co-editor, his co-Unsportsmanlike Content host, Thomas. Let him out to dry. So Kenan, you were buff.
Okay, in my rebuff, we had three people.
That's the wrong word, but okay.
Whatever. We had three people who were going to order Ubers. Thomas was like, "Go with them. You'll be fine." I'm like, "Are you sure I can get an Uber XL?" He was like, "Yeah, I'm sure." But in my inner mind, I'm like, "You know what? He's going to come with me." I thought I pressed an Uber XL. It was a regular sized Uber. So Thomas got that right, and that turned into an hour debacle. And when I got back, freaked out because I didn't know where Tommy was. But, thank God, he's here right now in the flesh. Wasn't mad at me. And
no, we didn't. Did I say I wasn't mad at you?
I was about to say that was my next question because I wasn't here, obviously. Tommy did eventually somehow, some way make his way back. Tommy, you guys shared a hotel room. What was that reaction like when you finally got back and met him face to face after he left you at the dry in Washington, D.C. We're in St. Joseph, Missouri right now. That's a long ways away from Washington, D.C.
I was walking along the streets of D.C. by myself, scared, cold, dressed up like a dead president with blood, fake blood running all over the side of my face, looking like a crazy person.
I forgot. I was just Secret Service. I left you.
He was my Secret Service. And this man leaves without me. It's unexcusable.
I apologize, but the Secret Service had to do Secret Service stuff.
I think I'm starting to side with the president more. The more I learn the facts of the case, I think it's important that we get that on record and let the since the president is a public service, he's a public service employee. So I think it's important that we get the facts of the case out there and let everyone else decide. What really happened. Kenan's playing with a plastic knife, but we're gonna continue on. Starting off with, of course, it's Sunday. NFL football just took place. Right now, we're filming this during the Sunday night football game. The Titans are actually up 17-9 in Arrowhead against the Kansas City Chiefs. Pretty crazy day of football. Tommy, I know you were talking a lot about the end of the Falcons-Chargers game.
I mean, I don't know how you ever play another snap after doing something like that.
So for reference, what happened was the Chargers had the ball. They fumbled it, and an Atlanta player recovered it and was starting to go the other way, tied at 17 late in the game. And then before he even gets tackled, he fumbles the ball. The Chargers recover, end up kicking the game-winning field goal. Huge win for the Chargers and a huge loss for the Falcons, too. They came into this game leading the horrific NFC South after that loss, and a Tampa Bay Buccaneers shocking come-from-behind win over the Los Angeles Rams. Now the Bucs are tied with the Falcons and own the tiebreaker for that division lead. And for only the second time this year, we can be envious of Kenan because his Detroit Lions somehow, some way won their second game of the year, a 15-9 win over the corpse of the Green Bay Packers, that team just does not look good at all. I don't know what happened to Aaron Rodgers, but
He's got a foot out the door.
he's got one foot out the door. But you know what? Kanan's got a second win in the win column. Him and MCDC are now 2-6 on the year. Kanan, your thoughts on a big win?
First of all, our defense played absolutely phenomenal. I know this isn't the accustomed Packers offensive talent that Rodgers has, but intercepting Rodgers 3 times, making him go 23 for 43, that's a win. We shut down their offense. Jared Goff, who I've been critical on, had a nice little game today. I think he had 150 yards with 2 touchdowns. I'll take that. DeAndre Swift, he's still injured, but we're easing into it. St. Brown, Raymond, Tom Kennedy, all great talents. Pains my heart, though, that T.J. Hawkinson wasn't on there. He's in Minnesota right now.
Hey, you're 1-0 in the post-Hawkinson era.
We are, but T.J. had a great game for the Vikings today. 9 catches, 70 yards. Let's just take it a step at a time. I still think we can turn this season around as much as I want Bryce Young. But really good game today. Really great game. I'm so happy.
Yeah, good win. Anytime you pick off a quarterback 3 times, it's pretty good, especially one as historically accurate as Aaron Rodgers. Pretty big win for the Detroit Lions. A couple other notable games here. Joe Mixon set a Bengals franchise record 5 rushing touchdowns in a 42-21 win over Carolina.
That's 55 fantasy points, by the way.
You have him on your team?
No. No.
That was my next question. And another record, Justin Fields broke the regular season record for rushing yards by a quarterback, 178 yards in a losing effort. Lost 35-32 to the Miami Dolphins. Bears are now 3-6. The Dolphins continuing a strong year, 6-3. Also in the AFC East, continuing a strong year. How about the New York Jets beating the Buffalo Bills 20-17 on their home field? The Jets are now 6-3, still second in the AFC. And, everyone keeps talking about Zach Wilson might not be the guy, but you know what? He straight up beat Josh Allen. Josh Allen had a bad game today. And, Wilson, I don't think Wilson was great checking his stats. 101 QBR is pretty good, 18-25, 154 yards. But he beat arguably the MVP frontrunner right now. And the Jets are currently looking like they're going to make the playoffs for the first time since the Rex Ryan era. So really good stuff there.
I don't know if this is I don't know if they can keep this up. You look at the numbers, you see Zach Wilson, 18 completions. 8 of those were to Garrett Wilson. 154 yards, 92 to Garrett Wilson. That's a rookie receiver. Do they have the depth to make a mark?
See, that's tough. And, the other part that's tough is looking at their schedule. They have a bye next week. Closing out the year, Patriots going to be a tough game. Bears, Vikings, Bills again, Lions, Jaguars, and then they close out at Seattle and at Miami, who Week 18 Miami, they're also going to be fighting for a playoff spot. Second half of the year does them no favors, but they put themselves in a very good spot to start out the year. So with that out of the way, now Griffin football. For the first time, at least in my time at Missouri Western, the Griffins are going to have a losing record. They dropped to 4-6, a double overtime loss yesterday at Warrensburg to the Central Missouri Mules. They close out the year with, you better win this game. They close out with Lincoln, a team that last I checked hasn't won all year. Last few times we played them, we put up 70 points. No excuse not to go out with a bang. And those last 2 games, too, mind you, were at Lincoln. This game is in St. Joseph Senior Day at Spratt Stadium. I know Kenan and I are most likely going to be on the field for that one. But pretty tough year, tough sledding for the Griffins for sure. But, you hope they can close out on a high note. And speaking of closing out, World Series just ended yesterday. The Houston Astros are your 2022 World Series champions. Yay. They beat the Philadelphia Phillies, and I want to brag. I told Kenan I give the Phillies 2 games, and the Phillies took 2 games. The Astros won 4-2. And, they're watching that game, just watching that series, playoffs in general, there was really no doubt who the best team in the MLB was. The Dodgers did win, 110 games or something like that, but just seeing how well the Astros are built from top to bottom. We talk a lot in hockey about teams that maybe don't have the best regular season, but in the playoffs, look out. It's a different style. They're meant for that. The Astros, some reason they just thrive in the postseason. They just make it work. They find big guys who can make big plays like Jeremy Pena, who I believe won both the CS and the World Series MVP, 25 years old as a rookie. Pretty impressive for the shortstop. But, every year, it's just incredible how the Astros have made the last 6 CSs and have made 4 World Series in a row. The AL's good. The Yankees have been very good in that time. Other teams, the Guardians have had their runs. The Twins have been pretty good. The White Sox, Athletics. It just doesn't matter. Even the Red Sox, Rays, it doesn't matter who you throw at them. The Astros still find a way. And with all the cheating scandals, with all the players coming in and coming out, AJ Hinch got fired, Dusty Baker's in, he finally wins a World Series. Carlos Correa and George Springer were gone, but they found new guys. Yordan Alvarez is incredible. There's no reason to think that the Astros aren't going to be in the conversation for years to come.
I'd like to shout out a special individual that is just a legend, okay? Mattress Mac.
Mattress Mac. We got to talk about Mattress Mac.
A $10 million bet.
I mean, he is just famous in the Houston community. He's done this for the Super Bowl, I believe, in the past. But basically, he runs a mattress company, a furniture company, and he runs this promotion where between certain dates, if you buy a mattress, you are guaranteed a refund if the hometown team wins the championship. So what he does is to hedge that, he goes to different casinos and places millions of dollars worth of bets on his team to win the championship, so he can't lose either way. He gets money for his business, or his team loses, or people get their money back, and he wins $75 million.
I think it was the largest single payout in any bet of all time.
World record breaking.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Could you imagine having $10 million to burn? Be like, you know what? I want my Stros to win the World Series. Why not? And paying that back 7.5 times.
I mean, can you imagine setting yourself up in a position where you can bet that much money and you know you're going to come out ahead either way?
Yeah, and you're not. And even if for some reason it went wrong, you're not losing a dent. $10 million. What's $10 million to that guy? Unbelievable. I couldn't. That guy. Shout out Mattress Mac. He's a legend. He's doing it right, man. But looking ahead, I think the MLB free agency period is maybe the most interesting of all 4 because it's all free agents. In the NBA, you see a lot of trades, sign-in trades. NHL is pretty quiet. NFL, there's always moving around even during the season. But I think with the MLB, since there's no salary cap or anything like that, just the amount of money that some guys can make, like Aaron Judge, a free agent this year, just some of the lucrative multi-year, multi-million-dollar contracts are so interesting to me. But we don't know any of that yet. The only free agent I think that has been signed is Edwin Diaz, who just signed with the Mets today. As of right now, who do we think would be in the 2023 World Series? Just knowing what we know right now. In my opinion, I still think the Astros would be the favorite in the AL. They've made the last 2. I don't see why they would get any worse. And in the NL,
I think the Yankees might get some revenge.
I don't see any way the Yankees don't get Aaron Judge back to begin with. But man, the way they started last year, they got to be close, and the Steinbrenners aren't the most patient people. If things aren't going right, expect even more calls for Aaron Boone's head than there already are.
What is that number going to look like, you think? Aaron Judge's contract?
Well, you got to remember, he's not particularly young. Like, he debuted when he was around 25. So I think he's right around 29, 30, if I believe. So I don't think he's getting more than a 10-year contract. But he could easily make, I don't know, what do you think, 35, 40 million a year for 10 years? I mean, Scherzer's, I think, got the most annual salary at around 43, but he only signed a 3-year deal.
So before the season, there was a 7-year, $213 million deal thrown on the table.
Which is just over $30 million a year.
People are saying it's going to be at least $100 million more than that.
You think over 7 years?
Probably 8 years.
I think 8 years too. But even then, what's that? 313. So 8 years by 313. That's just under $40 million a year.
8 at 320, $40 million a year.
I could see that. And I think,
that's not a bad take.
And I don't think that's unreasonable for the Yankees too, because they got the money. You're not going to get a salary cap. That's your guy. Like that's the biggest face of the franchise in my opinion since Derek Jeter retired.
Absolutely.
That's your knight in shining armor. You gotta pay up for him. and then you got to build around him. There's no reason why the Yankees shouldn't win a game in the CS when you have a guy that can hit 320 and also select 62 home runs in a season. I would not be surprised to see him get that many years, $40 million per. I think he's earned it. That's the best contract year you can ever have. How are you going to have a better contract year than what Aaron Judge has had? It's impossible. Like, it's a losing proposition to do any better than that.
We'll never see it again.
No.
What do we think about DeGrom? Where's DeGrom going?
See, part of me, I'm seeing a lot of people say the Rangers, because the Rangers are looking to start getting out of the basement. They're looking to spend money. They showed they'll spend the money. They signed Marcus Semien and Corey Seager last year. I think he stays with the Mets, though. The Mets, Steve Cohen wants to win just badly, if not more than the Rangers do. He's more public about it at the very least. They've also got the money to spend. The Mets finally had a great team this year, 100 wins, even though the postseason didn't go the way they wanted to. They are not going to be content with that season being a one-off. They are going to do everything they can to not only keep their stars, but build around their stars. So I think Cohen's going to get it done. DeGrom's going to stay a Met.
I want to just say, dropping it back, coming out the NL, I actually have the Padres.
I like that a lot.
Because remember, they were without Fernando Tatis Jr. If Tatis was playing, we all know he's suspended from that. I think it was 80 games.
Yeah.
For steroids, but he said ringworm, whatever. Juan Soto, Machado, Darvish, Kim Ha, Robert Suarez, Musgrove, Nola, and Tatis. Like, that's a championship.
No, that's on paper. That should win a championship. That should be right up there record-wise with the Dodgers. And Tatis isn't going to be able to play right away because the suspension does carry over.
Yep.
But if they stay healthy and they start firing on all cylinders, man, a team of Tatis, Machado, and Soto, that should win you a ring. 100%. I really like that pick, Kenan. I think the Cardinals should win the Central again, and I don't see any reason why they won't be competitive. I have high hopes for this offseason too, most importantly. And I think in the East, it's really going to be the same guy. The Phillies showed what they're capable of. The Mets are still going to be good. The Braves are still going to be very good. I think the AL's more top heavy, but they have the absolute best teams. I still think the Astros are going to be the best team next year, but I think the NL has more potential teams. Like, there's only 2 or 3 teams in the AL I think could have a legit shot at the World Series. In the NL, I think there's maybe 4 or 5. So I think keep an eye on the Padres, keep an eye on the Braves, keep an eye on the Astros, Yankees, Cardinals, Phillies. I don't see anyone taking a massive step. I don't think the Mariners are quite there yet. I don't think the Orioles are quite there yet. I don't see it out of the Blue Jays. But I think that's kind of where we're looking. So I'm really excited to see where that goes. So moving on to NHL talk, we are from St. Louis, and boy, it's tough to be a Blues fan right now. Things just are not going well. The Blues right now won their first 3 games pretty convincingly. They've lost 6 straight since then, and just looking at the scores, it's ugly. You got a 4-0 loss to Winnipeg, a 3-1 loss to Edmonton. That was a decent game. That was winnable. 6-2 to Nashville, 7-4 to Montreal at home, inexcusable. 5-1 to the Kings, inexcusable. 5-2 to the Islanders, not good. So everyone wants to blame Jordan Binnington just because you look at his stats and you take a look at an .879 save percentage through 7 starts. Watch the games. In no way is it his fault. That defense has been so bad so far. I've never seen so many clear lane, cross crease one times. I've never seen that many. It's the same thing every time. Basically, almost it feels like a 2-on-0, just uncontested to Benner's left, to Benner's right. Oh, it's in the back of the net. What's he supposed to do? And it's every single play. It seems like the Islanders game I watched in depth. That was mind-boggling. How every single goal was basically the same way. Like the defenders are just standing there like pylons. Like Colton Parayko was like legitimately like almost on Binnington's pad at one point, blocking him from stopping almost a wraparound. Like, what's he supposed to do there? The offense hasn't been doing their job. Everyone is mad at Jordan Kyrou, rightfully so. He looks out of it. He looks lost. He looks confused. Most importantly, he looks like he doesn't care. If you're going to struggle. 82 games, not every game's going to go your way. But body language, I think, is so important. And he just looks like he couldn't care less out there. So they played him tonight. as of when we post this. They play Monday night in Boston. Not going to get any easier. The Bruins are fantastic this year.
They're 9-1, if I believe. Best team in hockey, I think.
They are the best team in hockey. They're down. They're now 10-2.
10-2.
Yeah, they lost last night to the Maple Leafs. But
might I float an underlying factor to this recent losing streak? I do not believe that Harry has received his hoodie yet.
I have not received my hoodie. Thank you for bringing that up. So yeah, for those that don't remember, got a free hoodie for guessing the first game correctly.
And was that the last time we won?
No, we've won since then. But after that week, no, we've gone scoreless or winless. And what was that, about 2-3 weeks ago?
Yeah.
You know, I'm getting awful chilly. I could use a hoodie.
I mean, it's quite the coincidence.
I mean, I don't see I don't see how it doesn't connect. You know what I mean?
Right.
I think there's more to the story. But enough about the bad of the NHL. We are debuting a new segment today. We have not practiced this. We're going to see how this goes. Ladies and gentlemen, for your 5-minute fast break, all things NBA, Kenan Bielovats.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get it already started. Bucks 9-0. Came into this podcast before saying that they were the team to beat this year. They have done this without Chris Middleton. Giannis Antetokounmpo is putting up MVP numbers. You have role players like Drew Holiday stepping up to be that second star. Brooke Lopez, Bobby Portis, Grayson Allen. The pieces are all there for them to win the championship. And when Chris Middleton comes back, who is going to stop that team? We also have to remember that Pat Connaughton and Joe Ingles they're still out. If I can get a 30% Joe Ingles to knock down some shots, give Giannis some floor space, that would absolutely benefit him. I personally don't think there's any team that can stop the Bucks now. Giannis is still a top 5 mid-range shooter. People have been saying he can't shoot. Well, he can't shoot threes, and sometimes he struggles with his free throws, but he's somebody you have to guard in the mid-post now because that fadeaway, that hook shot, his athleticism, he can get to the basket, he can fade away. That's going to work. Lakers 2-7. What are they going to do? Russell Westbrook has been absolutely phenomenal coming off his bench role, but they're still losing games. They won 2, lost 1. So if I'm the Lakers, what do I do? Well, Russell Westbrook's stock is as high as it ever will be.
Oh, it's not going to get any higher with him off the bench with them losing.
It's not going to get any higher. So
it doesn't matter how well he plays because of the stigma around him.
100%. And so if I'm the Lakers, I'm calling up Indiana. I'm saying give me Buddy Hield, give me Miles Turner, because Buddy Hield right now is averaging 19 points per game on 43% shooting from 3. Miles Turner is an absolute dog down low. He's averaging 14 points, 7 rebounds, and 3.5 blocks per game. Okay, have him start the 5, Anthony Davis at the 4, LeBron at the 3, at the 1. I would have to say, give me Patrick Beverly, and at the 2, Buddy Hield. That is a championship-winning team. Russell Westbrook can do whatever he wants in Indiana. I do want to shout out Russell Westbrook, though. He has been struggling with his mental health. We've all seen it. He's even said he didn't want to take his kids to the game. So I'm happy to see Russ is back to how he not used to be, but he's contributing to a team. He's not the same 2016 Russell Westbrook, but he can still contribute. Now, my favorite part of this discussion, Victor Wembanyama. Probably butchered his last name.
That'd be impressive if you got it first time. I've never heard his name actually pronounced.
7'4". We've seen the NBA put all their chips in them. We've seen the NBA say, okay, this is going to be the next LeBron as scouting-wise. All of his games are being live-streamed by the NBA. When was the last time a prospect that had all their games live-streamed? In America, in Australia, it doesn't matter. Never seen it. He is a unicorn. He's 7'4", can handle the rock, has a smooth-looking jump shot, is an interior nightmare for anybody. I think in his first game that was broadcasted on the NBA TV, I think he had 7-8 blocks.
It stresses me out that someone like that exists.
He is.
No, it seems unreal. Like, I can't remember a prospect. Like, last time I remember a prospect getting, like, any big-time hype, let alone this much, was Zion.
It's like he was born 100 years early.
Right. Like he was created in a lab, like, strictly for the perfect basketball player. Like what people say about John Elway, like the quarterback you would create in a lab. That's what Victor. How do you say it?
Victor Wembanyama.
Wembanyama. That's what
in his last game. He had 33 points, 12 rebounds, 4 assists, and 3 blocks. Now, from what I'm looking at, it looks like that the Oklahoma City Thunder, in my opinion, they're gonna get that number 1 pick. So I just want you to picture this lineup: at guard, Shai. At the 2, Josh Giddey. 3, Lou Dort. 4 Chet Holmgren, 5 Victor. And then you have Alexei Pavelski coming off the bench. You have Jalen Williams coming off the bench. You have Trey Mann coming off the bench. Lindy Waters coming off the bench.
You give that team a couple years, man.
Invest in OKC right now.
Mattress Mac.
Can we buy stocks in NBA
Mattress
teams?
Mac, where are you at?
Oh,
Only the
my.
Packers.
But what Oklahoma City has done, Sam Presti is a genius. I remember him getting so much hate with the Joel Embiid talk, but that man is a marketing genius. To wrap up my 5-minute fast break, I'm going to be talking about a team that has surprised me, though. The Cleveland Cavaliers. They recently just beat the Lakers by 15. Donovan Mitchell at 33. This is a team that can make waves in the East. You have Mitchell, Garland, Kevin Love, Mobley's emerged, Gerald Allen, Karis LeVert, Ricky Rubio when he comes back, and Cedi Osman. The Cavs are going to be a team to watch, and that has been the 5-minute fast break.
With 17 seconds to spare, let's hear for Kenan.
Thank you.
Kenan, good job as always. It's good to see you in your element, ladies and gentlemen. I room with Kenan. This dude knows basketball. It's cool to see him in his element, and I would agree with you. I think there's been a couple disappointing teams to start the year, most notably the Nets, Lakers, and Warriors. I think the Cavaliers are the most pleasant surprise. You know, we expected them to kind of.
I'm not worried about the Warriors.
I'm not either. We had some expectations. You know, the Cavs could take a step. And they've exceeded them. They've been fantastic. They've been fun to watch this year.
Another team I really wanted to mention real quick, the Utah Jazz. They traded away Mitchell. They traded away Gobert. They spanked the Lakers the other day. They lost to Mavericks by 3. But Lauri Markkanen is averaging 23, 10 with a block a game. Jordan Clarkson, shout out, went to Mizzou. This team, it was supposed to be bad, but you have Sexton. You have Mike Conley, Beasley, THT, Vanderbilt, Rudy Gay. This team is going to be something to watch in these next couple of years.
Yeah, I'm excited to see where the future of the Jazz is. I've always rooted for the Jazz. But that's been the NBA segment. Good job, Kenan, as always. And now we're getting to the recurring parts of the show. It's time for Harry vs. All. We got the You Gotta Know St. Louis Sports Trivia Game. I bought it at half-price books for $8, worth every single penny. And last episode, we had a barn burner. I think it went to, 3 tiebreakers, Tommy?
It was.
And I believe I got Ray Ferraro right to win it. And so I defeated Tommy last week. That means that he is the card reader. He is going to read first to Kenan Bielovats, and I'm going to exit the room. As always, he's going to read all 4 cards. We're going to write down everybody's answers. We're going to reveal the answers after both of us guess, see who got the most right. And whoever got the most right is the winner.
Hate to see him go. Can't decide. All right, Kenan. This is going to be an easy card.
Oh, boy.
So you should get most of these correctly. I'm going to start off with the first question. What unofficial mascot appears on the 2011 Cardinals World Series rings prompted by its dash across home plate during the NLDS?
The squirrel.
Did it have a name?
Oh, I got to go with the name as well?
I mean, it was I'll mark that as correct.
Was it? No. Don't tell me. I Rally Squirrel.
You know, I'm not supposed to tell you the answers anyways. So we're going to move on to the second question.
You're fine.
What St. Louis native claimed the undisputed heavyweight championship with a split decision win over Muhammad Ali in 1978?
Oh! The boxer in me is crying. Can I get a hint?
No hints.
You said
1978. You're probably going to be kicking yourself when I say the name.
Don't tell me.
I'm not.
Don't tell me, please.
Just, you got to give me an answer, though, so you can move on.
Leon Springs.
Okay.
I already know that's not right.
All right. Third question. In 1969, after more than 25 seasons in the broadcast booth, who was fired by the Cardinals and replaced with Jack Buck?
The old guy? Like, are we saying like...
Well, he's old now.
No, I'm saying like the old broadcaster.
So after 25 seasons in 1969, he was fired. And he was replaced by Jack Buck. Who is that person?
You said after 25 years?
So from 1944 to 1969, he was the broadcaster for the Cardinals.
He was fired in 1960.
You got 5 seconds. Come on.
Starts Bud Blackner.
That's a wild name. Fourth question.
I had
What Cardinals outfielder led the National League in stolen bases every year from 1985 through 1990?
I feel like this should be. You said outfielder.
Yep.
Ah,
Stolen bases every year from 1985 to 1990.
no, don't tell me. Don't tell me.
I'm not telling you. I'm not allowed to.
Why do you do? I should know this. Like Harry was gonna get that 100%.
Oh, Harry's gonna run through this. I mean, it is the most famous Cardinal base stealer.
I should know
Besides the one, the big guy. And you gotta give me an answer soon, or else this segment's gonna be it's gonna be like 10 minutes.
Oh my! Was it? Ah, I should know this. It's not Ozzy. Ozzy was a shortstop.
Kenan, you gotta answer. You gotta answer this.
Wait. Vince Coleman.
All right. Go get Harry. I think you might have gone over the time limit, but we will not count that against you.
I had to work my brain up.
No, he doesn't.
Okay, so Kenan, how'd you do?
I think I got at least 2 right. Last one really stumped me for a second.
Okay, Tommy, how did you do?
I'll tell you afterwards.
Look at him learning.
Mysterious.
All right. Let's get this started. In my opinion, you will run through these.
Okay.
What unofficial mascot appears on the 2011 Cardinals World Series rings, prompted by its dash across home plate in the NLDS?
I believe it was ran between Skip Schumacher's legs, the rally squirrel.
Correct. Well, you already knew that.
I knew that one.
B. What St. Louis native claimed the undisputed heavyweight championship with a split decision win over Muhammad Ali in 1978?
I know this one. Like my dad's gonna. My dad's told me about this. He's gonna be mad at me because I forgot it. But man, I don't remember.
You're just gonna. All right. In 1969, after more than 25 seasons in the broadcast booth, he was fired by the Cardinals and replaced with Jack Buck.
I believe that would have been Mr. Harry Carey. He went on to be the announcer for the Cubs.
All right, your final question, sir. What Cardinals outfielder led the National League in stolen bases every year from 1985 through 1990?
So it wasn't? I don't think it was Willie. See, I know this guy got hurt. I don't remember when he got hurt. Is it Vince Coleman?
The answer is Vince Coleman. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a tie.
We have a tie.
No,
Let's hear.
We
Let's go
have
through.
a tie. I would like to mention that although Kenan had zero confidence in his answer, he was right. He said Leon Spinks.
Kenan got Leon Spinks.
He did.
I had to think of something. I was just like remembering who Ollie all
Look
fought
at
in the
that.
70s
He also
and
spent
80s.
about 5 minutes figuring out the Vince Coleman answer.
I about to say I heard him yelling.
I don't. He said Bud Blackner instead of Harry Carey. I don't know.
He
who
was
that
he
is.
was there like 20 years in the 40s to the
I'm
60s.
so
So,
confused.
Fair enough.
I think I
Um,
got confused, Jack.
So what that means, we are on to sudden death.
We're on to
And
Sunday.
how do we run that this last week?
Tommy's gonna find a card, and
He's
he's
gonna
gonna start.
find
He's
any
gonna start.
card.
He's gonna start reading them.
You know, I'll do ones that I'll give both you guys a chance.
This has gone super well, by the way. I'm really proud of bringing this segment and enforcing it.
Okay, I'm gonna throw another boxing one out there. Is the first one on the card?
Man,
I'm sorry. Who fought his first 5 professional boxing matches in St. Louis and knocked out Floyd Patterson in 1962 to become world heavyweight champion?
Muhammad Ali.
Incorrect. Stop looking at your laptop.
I know. Yeah, that's.
I'm not a problem. So I'm on my draft.
This is scandalous.
No, you want to see? You want to see my draft?
Answer the question.
I would like to mention that Kenan is peeking from the corner of his eye ever so often at his
Yeah,
laptop.
he's kind of
while
typing
answering
aggressively.
I'm doing my
He's
draft.
repeating
Okay.
the question verbatim.
I have no idea.
All right.
Nothing.
You don't know it. It was Sonny Liston. What Hall of Fame
Right.
offensive tackle did the Rams select with the first pick?
Orlando Pace.
I think Harry got it first.
I think that's a. What's the fourth question on there?
Oh my goodness! I'm gonna have to run that.
I think I
We're gonna
did get
have to
that one
rewind
first,
that.
but we'll replay it later.
It might just be because you just didn't say it as loudly. But a winner of 5 Gold Gloves. What position did Jim Emmons play during?
Center fielder.
There you go.
Kenan, well played.
And Harry takes it.
Very impressive.
That one was definitely up for grabs.
That was 100% up for grabs.
Very close. The closest we've had yet.
You know, I'm impressed with you boys. I expected to kind of get bored with this, but you're keeping me honest. Kenan and Tommy find good cards, and they're able to pull a couple.
I just want to have Tommy issue an apology for me thinking I was cheating when I was working on my draft.
There was no.
I don't think there's any need for an apology.
No apology needed.
That hurt my feelings.
Now, if you had won, then we might need an apology from you. But.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's been fun, but it's time for everybody's favorite part of the show. It's time for a draft. I dropped that plan. But today's theme, we've gone back and forth on this. We have a couple in the grab bag. And this one kind of came out of left field. I think me and Tommy were eating lunch one day, and somehow this idea just came to be, and it was perfect. What we are doing today is moments in sports that we wish social media was around for. So it's pretty self-explanatory. Moments that happen, Twitter came around like
2008.
Pre-2008 or so. Yeah, it kind of depends on who you think. I think the early 2010s is like really the start of like the big social media era where like everything was just getting posted. So I think we'll kind of know like what fits into that category. But we decided to just let Kenan pick the order of the draft today instead of trying to find some specific reason. And he was kind enough to give me the first overall pick.
I gave myself the second overall pick.
He did give himself the second overall pick. That means Tommy is going third, but not to fret, fans of Thomas Fornes. It's a snake draft. So he's going to go last in round 1, but first in round 2. You get it. Let's move on. I am up first. And one of my favorite genres of movie is the ones that are based on a true story, specifically the sports ones. And one of my favorites, Kurt Russell, Miracle, the Miracle on Ice in 1980, the U.S. team beating the Soviets. That was so good. And pulling off the shocker 4-3. I think, to me, that's the biggest upset in sports history. And, man, I can't imagine what the reaction would have been on both sides.
Oh, with how polarized everyone is today.
And with where the Soviets and America were at that point in time, too. There was a lot riding on that game, and it was a lot more than just hockey. Those two sides were not friendly with each other. So, Kenan, I saw you were upset. I think when he turned around his computer to show that he wasn't cheating, this was what he had in mind.
You have to expect this, though. This was.
I think this was kind of the objective number 1 pick. This is LeBron in 03. Right. Like I feel like that was the go-to.
I wouldn't go that far.
I don't know. Yeah,
there's a lot to pick from here.
That's very true. I'm excited to see what Kenan comes up with.
Well, hard to match that, but in 1988, the United States men's basketball team finished with a bronze medal, and 4 years later, they came storming back to take the gold, redeeming the United States in basketball. This team had it all. David Robinson, Patrick Ewing, Larry Bird, Scottie Pippen, Clyde Drexler, Karl Malone, John Stockton, Chris Mullin, Charles Barkley, Magic Johnson. The second best player of all time, Michael Jordan, and obviously the best player of all time, Christian Laettner.
Come on.
As I'm dying here. But this team absolutely annihilated the competition. It was the cream of the crop. All 11 Hall of Famers, excluding Christian. They beat their opponents by nearly 44 points a game. And this was like a celebrity tour you had players mid-game asking for a handshake from Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, Patrick Ewing, and their toughest test was in the gold medal game. They beat it was 117 to 85.
Just domination.
They spent the entire summer in Barcelona dominating basketball, living their best lives. Give me the 92 Dream Team.
I think it's a really good pick. Covering that entire team would have been fascinating to see with the social media.
NBA Twitter would have exploded.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And I would have loved it.
Even college basketball Twitter too with Leitner. I think it's hilarious the fact that you have all those big name guys in a college stud. You know, with how proven some of those guys are. Like, how did Christian Leitner make it? Like, who did he know almost? But great picking on Tommy. Now you have two to choose from.
Love this. All right. So every so often, you have that breaking story that turns an entire sport on its head. December 13th, 2007, the Mitchell Report exposed, dozens, maybe close to 100 MLB players, very significant heroes of the time, cheaters, all of a sudden, overnight.
Thinking about some of the huge names like Giambi, Rodriguez, Bonds, Clemens that were exposed in that time. Like we had suspicions, there were allegations, but the fact that it was all laid out there too.
All at once
in one bell swoop.
Can you imagine social media digesting that today?
Oh my gosh. We thought the Astros deal was bad in the social media era. That would have been so much worse.
I can't even imagine, really.
Because baseball was still kind of struggling from the lockout, and some of those big name guys. This was right after Jose Canseco exposed some guys like Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa. Now this comes out, and they're finally kind of where they used to be before all these issues came up, and now all those guys that brought the game up are going to help crush it back down because they were cheating. They weren't doing it clean the entire time.
And it'd be interesting because back when this happened, you really only got the opinion from your mainstream media sources. There wasn't really that much of a room for a differing opinion or voice. And with social media today, you'd have gotten some
everyone would
takes.
have thought something about it. Yeah,
it may not have been interpreted in the same way that it was. I'll move on to the next one now.
That's a really good pick, Tommy.
This also turned a sport on its head. Maybe not as popular of a sport. We're talking figure skating here. Tonya Harding, Nancy Kerrigan, January 1994. I'm sure most of you are familiar. Tonya Harding paying somebody to take a pipe to Nancy Kerrigan's knee, which was her rival figure skater. Great story, great movie with Margot Robbie.
Mm-hmm.
If you haven't seen it. I mean, this was just one of the biggest scandals of the 90s.
Can you imagine other social medias? Can you imagine NBA Twitter getting a hold of Tonya Harding and Nancy Kerrigan taking pipes to each other's kneecaps?
I mean, it would have been similar to the Will Smith, Chris Rock slap.
Oh my gosh. Can you imagine something like that happening in any other sport?
I can't.
Can you imagine Patrick Mahomes hiring Jackson to hit Tom Brady with a baseball bat before Super Bowl 55?
I can already see him doing his little TikTok dance. His Corvette, pop his knee out of.
I mean, for some reason, tennis. I feel like somebody in tennis would.
Nick Kyrgios would absolutely he would take a spare racket. Absolutely.
Oh,
Tommy going out of left field. I love that pick. Tommy might be winning this one. Kenan, you're up.
Speaking out of left field, my topic is baseball. 1947. The end of the color barrier in baseball. Jackie Robinson suiting up for the Brooklyn Dodgers at the time, later the Los Angeles Dodgers. But 10 years with the Dodgers, won the Rookie of the Year award in 1947, All-Star for 6 straight years, National League MVP in 49, played in 6 World Series, had a championship ring. But outside of that, the way that he conducted himself stands head and shoulders above everything else. 1997, they retired his number every day on April 15th, 2004, is Jackie Robinson Day. And just the way that he held himself in that time where people of color were visibly, mentally, and physically abused on a day-to-day aspect.
Oh, no, yeah. No one would have given him any grief if he was the most miserable person, but the way he conducted himself.
Talked back. He never once swung at another opposing team. And he had his teammates who were a little bit hesitant to the change stand up for him. So if Twitter was around then, if it's social media was around then, Jackie Robinson breaking the color barrier would definitely be one of the most popular.
I was gonna add in. I was actually gonna throw this out there. Are we throwing these moments into today's age of social media, or are we taking social media and putting it back in time?
That's interesting. See, here's the thing. The way I would answer that is, we know what social media is like now. How are we gonna assume how they would have responded back, in 1947? Because we weren't there. Like you said with the Mitchell report, we didn't have that other opinion. So all we could really do is speculate how that would have gone over. We know the kinds of things people would say nowadays.
Because if you throw Twitter into 1947,
wouldn't be the
which sounds hilarious just to say out loud.
It's just something to think about.
Absolutely, yeah, it is. It's definitely for sure people didn't think the way they do today back in 1947. It's definitely differing opinions. The way I'm kind of viewing this is, imagine if something like Jackie Robinson, something like the Mitchell report happened today, right now, how it would go over. That kind of reaction, you know what I mean?
I would think somehow of like a female coming to a male sport.
Right, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the way I'm looking at it, because I can only go off what I actually know, because I feel like it kind of delegitimizes it when you're just kind of like assuming what average Joe from Kentucky would have thought back in 1947 versus what average Joe from Kentucky thinks about in 2022. Right. You know what I mean?
Probably not any difference, but
yeah.
Who knows?
So moving on, I have my last two picks consecutively, and I feel pretty good about these. The first one I'm going to go with another pretty niche sport that we don't talk about much: horse racing, Secretariat's Triple Crown. If you guys haven't seen that movie, it's excellent. But that last race where he won by, it seems like, half a lap on a horse racing track, which is insane to think about. The fact that horse was so dominant, more than maybe any team, any human, any animal, anything that's ever competed in anything. I think they found out his heart was literally bigger than an average horse's heart should be, which is why he had such incredible stamina. But the way Secretariat won that Triple Crown is just unbelievable. Stands the test of time. Still the fastest run ever. I think that is going to be my second pick. And then for my third pick, I know you guys weren't going to have this one, but I wanted to.
I have a good idea as to maybe what it is.
What's your guess?
Dale Earnhardt.
Related to it. So Dale Earnhardt died in the 2001 Daytona 500. They come back in July for the Pepsi 400, the first race after his death. And young, unproven Dale Earnhardt Jr. drives the absolute race of his life. His teammate Michael Waltrip, who won his first race when Dale Earnhardt was killed, ran second, pushed him to the win. The coolest post-race celebration ever. The greatest call in NASCAR history by Alan Bestwick, who I miss dearly, who should still be calling NASCAR races. The coolest, maybe the one moment as a NASCAR fan I wish I would have been able to be a part of. But at the same time, we talk about today's social media era. People thought that car was cheated. They said that car was too fast. It made for too good of a story. You got both sides of it. But man, the 2001 Pepsi 400 gives me chills still to this day. It's everything. It's everything you want as a race fan. It's a great call. It's a great race. The cameras, the lights, the crowd is incredible. It's a Saturday night at Daytona, and it's everyone just absolutely going for it. And I think personally the call is still my favorite part. But seeing Dale Jr. get out of the car when his uncle and his crew chief Tony Sr. It's like trying not to cry, saying DEI's tough. Seeing Michael Waltrip and Dale Jr. get out of the top of the car, hug, embrace each other, and celebrate with the crowd. Hearing everyone go crazy, not a single person leaving the track. That's what NASCAR is to me. That's the coolest moment, I think, in NASCAR history.
When you break down that moment, it makes me glad that social media wasn't around.
I agree. I tend to agree with it. But man, seeing some of the good that would have come out of social media, because it's not all bad. There's a lot of bad that comes to social media. There's some good that comes out of it. Man, some of these stories, That would have been special. Kenan.
I'm gonna go with a football one, but not American. International World Cup. The Hand of God.
Knew it.
June 22nd, 1986. It's in Mexico City. England and Argentina are playing. This was England's best chance to win the World Cup in years. And a 25-year-old, 5'6" star named Diego Maradona surprisingly headers it in. Everybody knew it was a handball.
Oh, even in the 1980s camera shots, you can see clearly it's with his hand.
It's a 6-inch height difference from Maradona and English goalkeeper at the time, Peter Shilton. And for some reason, the ball ended up going right into the net, gave Argentina 1-0 lead. They won the game 2-1, and they would go on to win the World Cup. And it wouldn't be until 2005 when Maradona said, "Yeah, it was a handball." Like, yeah, I did it. What are you going to do? What are you going to stop? The implications that game had on Maradona's legacy, on England and football, because ever since then, England's never been the same. And football is an extremely passionate sport. You have in my opinion, the best fans in the world. They love their football. If Twitter was alive during then, it would have shut down. It would have exploded.
Not a lot of people talk about how crazy soccer Twitter can be.
Oh, it's insane.
How passionate soccer fans are.
They're extremely passionate and extremely Argentina and Brazil, like, the Southern American countries. Argentina would have.
Might I offer you another soccer moment? The Zidane headbutt.
Ooh, that was actually I was debating on which one.
Now, with today's social media, talk about a viral moment.
That would have become a meme.
I mean, it would have been larger than life.
That would have been like Will Smith and Chris Rock.
Yes, absolutely. I will go on with my last pick then.
Right? Oh, is that not your last pick?
Was that not your?
No.
Okay.
It is not. I just wanted to riff off what Kenan had there.
So, Tommy, with the Mr. Irrelevant pick, the final pick of this draft.
Absolutely. I'm going to go with Magic Johnson announcing that he has HIV.
Ooh.
I mean, that's one of the best players in basketball. You've got an AIDS epidemic. You're in the middle of an AIDS epidemic. And he played after that, correct?
I think he tried to come back around 1996, but yeah, I think.
But he wasn't really the same.
No, he wasn't. He was a shell of himself.
I mean, that's something that you hate to think about what social media would probably do to that today.
Oh my God. People still joke about Magic having
there's still memes about this.
It would. Oh my God. It would have upped
later.
the ante.
At the moment, I can't imagine what it would have been like.
Oh my God.
It would have been rough. It would have been something that he would not have wanted to be on Twitter on. That he would probably have to hire PR press to handle that. It would have been a nightmare.
I mean, I can't imagine. But I would also like to add, I think we shall go around and maybe add a couple more that we were thinking about.
Absolutely. I think I have two.
I have two as well.
Yeah, you can go first.
I'll start first. My first one was 1986 World Series. It gets through Buckner. That famous walk-off for the Red Sox in Game 6 against the Mets. Of course, the Mets came back and won it. But that call by Vince Scully's iconic. That's a huge moment in baseball history. Man, can you imagine what people would have said?
Imagine his DMs.
Oh, I made a mistake. That was Bill Buckner was on the Red Sox. It was a walk-off win for the Mets against the Red Sox, and the Red Sox ended up losing that World Series. Continued the curse of the Bambino, which had been going since 1918. They had to wait another 18 years to win that. That would have been, man, Bill Buckner. He struggled for a while after that. That would have been a rough one to recover from. Second one I had also ties into the Red Sox. I didn't plan this. The Bloody Sock game. That was when the Red Sox were in the middle of coming back from 3-0 against the Yankees, the year they finally came back and won the World Series. But, man, Curt Schilling playing with a bloody sock. The Red Sox coming back against the Yankees, who they owned them. Like, let's just say they owned them. And I think that might have been the game that Alex Rodriguez tried to slap the ball out of Bronson Arroyo's hand, if I recall correctly. Man, you get all of that combined into one game. Social media would have had a field day with that.
You brought up the Bill Buckner incident. and it brought two incidents to my head that would also work. Steve Bartman
Yep.
incident in Chicago. I mean, can you think of a better moment for social media right there?
Oh my God.
That guy they would have found him.
They would have found where he lives.
They would have doxed
would have
him. They
been
would have.
found. I don't know if you guys have seen Catching Hell.
Catching Hell, yeah.
Catching Hell,
I have.
great documentary on that.
That's-
That might be due for an update.
It might be. I haven't heard anything about him since the
Right.
Cup won the World Series.
I mean, where is he? Right? I mean, I feel like they would welcome him back with open arms at this point.
they have to. They ruined the guy's life. Like
Also, Don Dinkinger
blowing the 85.
blowing the
Yep.
85 World Series would have been a very interesting time in Missouri for that. Kenan, do you have?
I actually have two. First off, 1939 Lou Gehrig's speech being
Ooh.
diagnosed with ALS. Gehrig at the time was arguably not the best baseball player, but he couldn't care less. He called himself the luckiest man on the face of this earth. That was an extremely tear-jerking. Well, I wasn't there, obviously, but for the people that were in the crowd, seeing this man who's
You don't say.
seeing this man who's larger than life being tragically cut down with this disease, and seeing not only the player but the human behind Gehrig.
Absolutely.
And then less than 2 years after that speech, he died. He gave his speech on July 4th. Flags were at half mast.
Yeah.
You don't see that a lot. And for my last one, I think I'm going to go with one of my personal favorite ones, the shot. Michael Jordan, 90. I think it was. Actually, I have one more after Jordan. 1998. What makes it the greatest photo ever? Because of the impact of the emotion behind it, the goosebumps that Jordan felt after hitting that shot.
The fact that he just kept the form up.
Kept it up. Silenced
Poetic.
the crowd. And my last one, 2008, Michael Phelps, when he won 8 straight gold medals and 8 straight what was it? Well, what's the term? Like 8 straight events? Is it?
I think so. Yeah.
8 straight events hasn't been done since, I think.
Oh, no one's ever going to
The
do
team
that. Again.
relay where he came from behind.
That's incredible.
I remember
man.
watching that.
That's one of the coolest
absolutely
videos to look
electric.
back on.
He edged out Serbia's Milorad Kavic by 100th of a second. And Kavic said he wanted to be the guy that kept Phelps from going 8 for 8. And when Phelps touched the wall, there's a little bit of space from Kavic's and the wall itself. 8 gold medals in 8 races. Never gonna see that again.
I've never felt more patriotic than when I watched that.
Oh my
race.
God.
I remember watching that and I chugged a gallon. Well, no, I didn't chug. I just drank milk after
I'm
that.
sure you chugged and probably threw up in your room afterwards.
I was an American.
I would like to throw my two out there quickly. Reggie Miller, Spike Lee beef
Ooh.
back in the day. You can just imagine what it would have been like on Twitter. Also,
Stephen A. Smith would be.
might be a fairly unknown one, but Doc Ellis, LSD no hitter, June 12th, 1970. I can't imagine social media getting a hold of the fact that he was under the influence while throwing a no hitter. I mean, that's just an all-time.
Oh
moment.
my God. Can you imagine like Barstool getting a hold of that information?
He would have done an interview circuit around the country.
He would have tried it again.
He probably would have signed to Barstool.
He would have signed an LSD endorsement probably. Well, that's been the draft. Good work as always. To recap, Tommy went with the Mitchell report, the Tanya Harding, Nancy Kerrigan incident, we'll call it, and Magic Johnson announcing he has HIV. Kenan went with the 1992 Dream Team, Jackie Robinson breaking the color barrier, and Diego Maradona's Hand of God goal. And I went with the Miracle on Ice, Secretariat winning the Triple Crown, and the 2001 Daytona 500. So, boys, do you have any other comments before I do my little spiel and wrap it up?
It was another good draft from all of us.
Yeah, I think that was a pretty even one. You can go a lot of different ways with that one, which is what I enjoy about it.
What are we excited for, Harry?
Well, before we talk about what we're excited for, I waited to talk about the NASCAR Cup Championship. So we woke up to pretty rough news last night. Ty Gibbs, who's just been taking it in the chops all week long after an incident that happened at Martinsville where he spun his teammate for the win. He wins at Phoenix for the Xfinity Series Championship, driving for his grandpa's team. His dad's heavily involved with the team as a co-owner. just a really really cool family moment, regardless of how you feel about Ty Gibbs. And coming into Sunday, Christopher Bell, another Joe Gibbs driver, has a chance to win the championship after an incredible walk-off win at Martinsville. And this morning, that took a back seat. We got word that Ty Gibbs wasn't going to race today due to a family emergency, which kind of leaves a lot up to the interpretation. And right away, what you're wondering is who's going to take the seat, and also, that's not normal. What's going on? So, what we found out for officially around 30 minutes before the race that Ty Gibbs' dad, Coy Gibbs, the son of Joe Gibbs, passed away in his sleep unexpectedly last night, 49 years old. For Joe Gibbs, this is a man that's done it all in his life. He's had, for all intents and purposes, a great life. NASCAR champion, Super Bowl champion, head coach of Washington for 3 Super Bowls. But he's gone through it, man. He has 2 sons, JD and Coy, both pass away in the past 4 years. JD died of a brain issue in 2019, and Coy this morning. Real unfortunate situation. But this is one of the good things about NASCAR. Ty Gibbs was taking it in the chops all week long. Nobody wanted him to win the championship, and he did. And then we hear he's struggling. He needs our help. And the sport rallied around him. Everyone, nothing else mattered. The race felt secondary. Everyone just was sending their thoughts and prayers, their best wishes to the Gibbs family and everyone involved. It's a tragic situation all around, and all we can do is hope for the best for them going forward. But for the actual race, everyone, I think after that, wanted a little bit more, if they weren't already rooting for him, for Christopher Bell to come back and win the championship. And it wasn't his day. He was struggling all day. Started 17th, starting to rally back. Got to within about a half car length of the leader on the points championship, Joey Logano, who also used to drive for Joe Gibbs Racing, who had a relationship with Coy Gibbs. But then a caution comes out with about 40 laps to go, and a disastrous pit stop for Bell. Crew member got his finger almost stuck in the gun, which those things are going at such high RPMs, hard to recover from. Bell was relegated to 10th. So between the other 3, Chase Elliott was around 2nd most of the day among the championship 4, was trying to clear Ross Chastain on a restart, spun on his bumper, hit the wall. He was out of it. So it's between Joey Logano and Ross Chastain. Chastain finished 3rd. Joey Logano, the best car all day, in the best position after winning the first race of the round of 8, goes on to win the race and the championship. Joey Logano is a 2-time NASCAR Cup Series champion as of today. And you know what? You can't really deny that he earned it. 4 wins on the year, won the biggest race of the year. And, he's 32 years old, and he's a 2-time champion. I think he's got 33 wins now. He had high expectations coming in. And at first, at Joe Gibbs, he wasn't living up to them. Gets a fresh start at Team Penske and finally exceeds them. He's a Daytona 500 winner. He's a 2-time champion. He's won an all-star race. He's good at every single track. And he's an all-time great. You can say he's the best playoff driver, in my opinion, since Jimmy Johnson. Every even year, he's found a way into the championship 4. Not a lot of guys can have been able to get that kind of success, been able to get the playoffs down. Logano's gotten it and then some. And there's no reason to think that he can't be more than a 2-time champion. So with that, boys, I know I rambled a little bit. If you guys have any other comments.
I would like to bring attention to the fact that Kansas bounced back this past weekend. They beat Oklahoma State, first-ranked win at home since 2005. Took down the field goal post, carried into the lake, threw it in. They put up a new one. No one really cared. It was a great time. Kenan?
14 days, the World Cup starts. First game is at 10 a.m. I will be up at 6 a.m. Getting hyped. It's Qatar, Ecuador, not the best game, but hey, World Cup, baby. It's that time. And then November 21st at 10 a.m., I got Senegal, Netherlands, USA, Wales, England, Iran, Group C. God, somebody just knocked me out for 14 days. I can't wait.
I'm excited for it. I love the World Cup, man. I can't wait for it. It's nice to actually have the U.S. in it again. I was missed last time, but looking forward to it all, and looking forward to the next episode. We should be able to record one next Sunday, November 13th, before we go on Thanksgiving break, a needed one, if I say so myself. So we're gonna see where we go from here. We're excited to see what we have to talk about in the world of sports. We'll have another fun draft. We'll have another fun round of trivia, and you know where to find us. So for all of us here at Unsportsmanlike Content, that's Kenan and that's Thomas Fornes. My name is Harry Loomis. Thank you for tuning in for some reason, and good night.